It's March Madness time yet again. The Sports Pod is right back coming at you with our picks right here. We're going to go region by region, tell you each of our picks, and you can hate on us, you can love our picks, but one of us is getting that perfect bracket, so you'll just have to respect it. Anyway, Max, care to start off?
Very true. Perfect bracket incoming this year, and we're gonna be the first ever to do it, undoubtedly. I mean, no
Oh,
doubts
yeah.
about it for sure. So, um, I'll start off here. Pretty obvious pick. We'll just say I go with UConn. Like FAU in this game a little bit better. I think Northwestern's look a little bit rusty recently, but FAU is a little bit more of a high-powered offense, I'd say. Got San Diego State for that defense. I could see UAB winning this game though. Just has a little upset
Mm-hmm.
potential. Don't see Yale beating Auburn here. Also got BYU. I think Duquesne's a little bit overrated here. I don't think they're worth an 11. I think
Mm-hmm.
JMU actually should have been here. Got Illinois. They looked really good. Actually got Drake, and honestly, I don't even think this is the considered upset because I think Vegas even has Drake, and
Mm-hmm.
I think the home court advantage somewhat in Omaha will be beneficial to them. Also got Iowa State, which is home court advantage to them, but they've also looked very good. But yeah, it's a little chalk here, but I think that's how this side's gonna go.
Yeah, pretty much. So for my first round, I have about the same thing as Max, but I am whoopsie
A
daisy.
little matchup analysis.
Yeah, we don't do that. I have one different one. I'm taking Northwestern over FAU. This is more about FAU than Northwestern, to be honest. Northwestern has struggled a little down the stretch, but FAU was just kind of bad in some of their conference play. Several really bad losses, especially that Temple one. I mean, I watched some of that game. They just looked ugly in that one. I think people are loving FAU a little bit too much for their victory last year, their run to the Final Four, and they're just not quite at that same level last year. One other note: love Drake, love Tucker DeVries. No comment on the Drake leak. And then I really like Yale coming into the tournament, but Auburn is just really good for a 4 seed, so I would
Mm-hmm.
take Yale against a couple of the other 4 seeds, but not over Auburn, unfortunately.
Yeah, to agree upon this point, I think just looking at this side of the bracket, especially in the first round, when choosing your brackets, you really should be choosing the higher seeds. I think the higher seeds are valued really well here, except for
Mm-hmm.
Auburn, who I think should be a little higher. FAU and Northwestern, as we've talked about, is a toss up, as shown by what we put. Both have looked bad recently, and both are good from the three. So we'll see how that goes. And then just also touch on the Drake as well. I could also see Washington State really winning that game because I mean they are a good team. They beat
Mm-hmm.
Arizona twice. Um, but honestly, I don't really like the Pac-12. I just don't trust in that conference, and that's proven each year, hasn't it, Sam?
Wow. Well, it won't be proven next year because they'll be gone. But
That, that is true. All right, moving on to my side again. Gonna pick my Sweet 16 teams. No upset here for early for UConn. I think they're just too good to be upset by FAU this year. FAU is not gonna have this Cinderella run. Auburn again. San Diego State, very good defense, and I could see them stopping Auburn. But honestly, I think Auburn has just showed me recently, in looking at the quality of their wins, that they could very easily take over in this game. Um, I got Illinois over BYU, and looking at BYU's games, I think they're actually not as impressive as people say. I know they're a very good 3-point shooting team, but I just like Illinois way better, especially with Shannon. And then I got Iowa State. So I do have the 1 through 4 here.
mm-hmm.
As I said, I think this is the chalk side of the bracket. Everything's straight up and down, and that's just how I like it.
Yeah, 4 conference champions right there from the Power Six conferences. Very easy to just take all of them. But I'm not doing that right here. I'm taking BYU over
Really?
Illinois.
That surprises
I'm
me.
just not as sold on Illinois, and I've liked BYU, what they've done. Committee did rank them as a 5 seed, but they had to get bumped down for
Oh, really?
bracketing, whatnot.
Didn't
Yeah,
know that. Okay.
you know, the whole bracket, whatnot. But BYU is really solid. A lot of good wins in the Big 12, and I think they can beat Illinois.
Okay, I would tend to disagree with the good wins. I think some of them were a little, especially some of their losses. I could go and look back up to them. Maybe I'll pop them up on the screen, and maybe I'll pop up the good ones as well. Maybe it's even on here. I'm not sure. It is not, but that's all right.
It happens.
I would tend to disagree. I just think Illinois looked so good recently, but I respect the BYU pick for sure. All right, moving on to mine. This is where things get a little tricky. I actually got Illinois upsetting Iowa State here, and honestly, I think Iowa State's looked so good recently, but when I started looking at their games and looking at their away, they have not been very good away. The neutral site for the Big 12 did go pretty well for them. Not far from home, though. Take that into consideration. Also, right before the tournament, they lost to Kansas State at home, I think, or maybe it was away. And that's just a terrible loss. I think there are a couple more on there that just didn't look good for Iowa State. But I think they just had a really good tournament, and I like Illinois, who I think had a better tournament, even though Iowa State won.
Yeah.
And then maybe even more shocking, I've got Auburn. That's probably my biggest upset of this whole bracket, and maybe I'll get flamed for this, which I probably should be. But of all the picks, I just think that Auburn is the team that can beat UConn here. And I want to be different because that's just what March Madness is about, rooting for the teams that are underdogs. And I really do like Auburn here. They've just looked really good recently. They've had very good wins. They beat Kentucky. They beat Alabama. They beat just basically all the good SEC teams. And I just like them here.
Yeah. Really, Auburn, I believe I saw they only have one win by single digits this year, which is crazy. When they're on, they're really on. But UConn's also elite. They're just dominant. I really like the squad. Only 3 losses on the year, and they're going to move on to the Elite Eight. And I'm hearing from something from Maroney right now. Of course, the Mormon Angel and BYU is moving on to the Elite Eight because they're elite in the interconference game. Unfortunately, I cannot tell you what happened in their conference matchups this year.
Did they lose to Texas Tech or something like that? Or in the
BYU versus Iowa State? I don't know. I mean, they definitely played each other this year. Can't tell you what happened. I think I looked it up when I was making my bracket. It must have at least been close, or BYU won for me to have faith in that. But Joseph Smith, Brigham Young is moving on.
I'm surprised you didn't bring up the quad one disparity here.
Oh yes.
I mean, as we've seen, Auburn's quad one has not been very good, and UConn's right in that margin, of course, being the number one net team. Or are they number 2?
I think they're 2.
Okay, they're 2, but still, that'll be a very tough game. But I do like Auburn, and I will decide to end my train there. I will pick Illinois to go to the Final Four. I'm just liking the way they've played. They can shoot from the 3. This is why I think they're a Final Four team. They can shoot from the 3. Shannon can take over the games. He can drive to the rim. It's going to take a really good team defensively, particularly Iowa State here. I think they've got an easy path through BYU, even though you would disagree. Iowa State will have to lock up Shannon somehow, and if they do so, then they'll win. But I think he's just too dominant of a player right now, and that's why I got Illinois.
Fair enough. Joseph Smith, he got a lot of followers in his day, but unfortunately, after he got a lot of followers, he got killed. So I think BYU is getting killed by UConn in this game.
I would agree.
Just a gut feeling. Might as well go out on a limb and say UConn's rolling on the way to the Final Four.
I would agree with that game for sure. I would.
If it happens, Max thinks that's going to happen.
I would expect UConn to destroy BYU. But there's our East region. Moving on to the South. Do you want to lead this one?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, I think you should.
Okay, so we've got Longwood, pause, but Houston will make quick work with that. Then I've got the Nebraska Cornhuskers right there, as Max's shirt will tell you. Nebraska Nebraska ball.
They probably
Moving
won't
on.
see that in the. That's
They
all right,
might
though.
not be able to see. Who cares? But we've got who was perhaps my favorite upset pick coming into the tournament. Their draw was interesting against Wisconsin, who was very struggling down the stretch, but big upset of Purdue. Nice win over Northwestern in the tournament as well. And I'm taking the Dukes. Win on the road against Michigan State. Looked pretty dominant in the Sun Belt tournament. James Madison moving on. Call it 1812 or whenever James Madison got elected. Well, no, 1812 was the war. 1808. Call it 1808.
The question is, which Duke do you like
Or maybe
better?
1812. Who knows? But Duke will also be advancing. Vermont's had a lot of good tournament teams. I don't think this is as good as in years past. Tuned into the American East Championship. They were Vermonting, but unfortunately, it won't be enough to beat Duke. Then I am taking Texas Tech. While NC State, DJ Burns, great run. Miracle shot at the end by McConnell, whatever his name was. But Texas Tech will be advancing. Texas Tech finished fairly strong, but they did kind of get boat raced in the Big 12 tournament. So gives me a little hesitation, but that's going to give them motivation to come back.
Mm-hmm.
And they will be playing Kentucky. Then Florida against Boise State or Colorado is an interesting one. Florida did just lose one of their guys. However, I'm taking Florida just because
They're a good team.
vibes. I don't know. To some extent, all of this is vibes. I mean, this game's probably close to 50-50. I'm taking Florida off of vibes, and I will be taking Marquette as well.
Some good picks there, Sam. I would say my bracket's looking very similar to yours. Maybe a couple differences. Obviously, oh my gosh, that was stupid. I've got Houston over Longwood as well. Pretty easy game there. I like Texas A&M over Nebraska though, especially offensive rebounding and defensive rebounding over Nebraska. However, if KSA Tominaga does pop off, that pick could go sideways, but I'm not too worried about that. That's just one game. Very awesome matchup here. I can't wait to watch this game. But I also got the Dukes of James Madison. Really like their pace of play against just these four teams particularly. I think that matches up really well, unless they slow them down. But the way they looked in their conference tournament, they just weren't being stopped, and I hope that continues. That'd be a fun watch. Also got Duke. They've looked really good, except for that loss to NC State. Honestly, would not be surprised if they make a run in the tournament, even being Houston. I also got Texas Tech, but I would love to see DJ Burns win that game. Just such a lovable guy, even though Creighton absolutely dominated them last year. Got Kentucky. Don't see them losing to Oakland. It's just not a fair matchup. However, in this game, I've got Colorado. This game could change if Boise wins against Colorado. I might change it to Florida, but I've got Colorado here. They're a really talented team. I know they're not in the best conference ever, but I just think I think this is a winnable game for them. Also got Marquette, but Western Kentucky does have upset ability there.
Oh yeah. Very interesting on this side. I am taking two upsets here in the round of 32.
Ooh.
And first one, I'm taking Houston. Just dominant, very good offense.
Well, there's only 3 games defense. Left, so
only 3 left.
2 teams are
so do I like Duke or do I like the Dukes? Guess what? James Madison was a 2-term president. I'm taking James Madison to advance.
Oh.
I have one Duke when you have Dukes. Then do I want Texas Tech or Kentucky?
I think you like Kentucky.
I'm taking Texas Tech.
Oh!
Kentucky has just been a very hit or miss team in their game so far. I could really see Kentucky winning by 20 or losing by 20 in this game, to be honest. But
that's fair.
I'm going to take Texas Tech. Red Raiders, guns up. And then I am a fan of Marquette as a team. I do like Shaka Smart. Controversial opinion. He's got great energy.
I don't like him.
Hasn't succeeded in the tourney since his VCU run, but I'm taking Marquette. Kolek should be back. We'll see.
Yeah, he should be. And as I said, I hate Shaka Smart. Just get off the court, let the players play. But yeah, he's got a very good Marquette team. Also got Houston, although Texas A&M actually was kind of close earlier this year with Houston. I actually also have James Madison. We didn't talk about this
Golly.
before. I promise. This is just something I really want to see happen, just because it'd be really funny and really awesome. But yeah, Duke versus Duke. I got the better Dukes. I really pondered about this game as well, and I had Texas Tech earlier, but I do like Kentucky because if it gets into an offensive match, which I believe it will, then obviously you're gonna have to pick Kentucky because they're the offensive team. Which what I'm saying is if this gets to 90 plus points, then Kentucky's winning it. But if Texas Tech can hold them, I could see a chance.
Hmm.
And I do have Marquette in this game. I think that's where Colorado's run ends, but I could see it going farther. If it's Boise State, I actually think Boise State matches up better with Marquette than Colorado would, but I think Colorado matches up better with Florida than Boise State
Hmm.
does. It's just how matchups happen, and I hate March Madness because you just get
It's
wrong.
madness.
Yeah, you just your whole bracket's done for because of one game because every game is contingent on the other.
As
So
much as we like to sound smarter than everyone, it's just kind of taking guesses for the most part.
of course,
I might be smart to say, you know, this game's actually an 85% chance for Houston instead of an 80% chance, but
you're picking James Madison.
I'm taking Houston,
Oh,
unfortunately. And, you know, if there's one thing I've shown so far, some BYU,
you like
Houston, Texas
the
Tech love.
six seeds,
I also love the Big 12 this year.
but not as much as Marquette.
Not as much as I love
Yes.
Shaka Smart.
I knew it. I knew it.
Okay, but so I'm taking that 1-2 in the Elite Eight.
That's good. You think that James Madison could potentially just upset Houston here? Or do you think it would have to be Duke?
James Madison didn't run for a third term.
Okay.
I mean,
Well, that says
we
it
got to
all,
see what
doesn't it?
happens when James Madison plays a third game.
Cue the interview in 2 months when Sam has a perfect bracket and ESPN interviews him, and that's his reason for choosing
Yeah.
James Madison.
Two-term president.
All right. I also have the same Elite Eight here. Not going to say much, but I think of all the teams here, and I'm really surprised none of us took Kentucky to the Final Four just because that's what everyone.
Yeah, a lot of people are doing that.
But I really wanted to hate on Kentucky, and I think Marquette would be the team to beat Kentucky, especially with their defensive efficiency. So that's why I've got them.
Fair enough. I'll go down here to
You gonna pick your Final Four team? Or?
Should we?
I think.
Oh, shoot. That's on me, guys. I'd be freaking. I'm taking Houston. This is where Marquette's run ends. Both teams can slow it down a little bit, play a more methodical style. Houston can slow it down much more, though.
Mm.
And I think they have an advantage at the game's played at a slower pace. So I'm taking Houston.
Just take the same words that Sam said, and all I'm gonna add is that Marquette was 0-3 against UConn this year, and when they're playing a team of that caliber, I'm guessing Houston will win. So that's why I've got them. Which side do you want to do?
I say we go third overall seed. I say we rock with Purdue.
Would you
in the
rather go
West.
first for Purdue or first for North Carolina?
I'll go first
Okay.
over here. So I've got Purdue, first of all. This one I can't really remember what I think I took TCU. Horned Frogs, horns up. They're the favorite in that game down in Vegas.
They are.
Then Gonzaga, McNeese State. I thought 5 was a little generous for Gonzaga with their resume. And McNeese State is dangerous.
Hey.
It's good to see if they can, like, if a team can win on the road against, like, a power conference team. I think that's always interesting. They beat both Michigan and VCU by, like, 10-ish points. And while both those teams are not in the tournament, and VCU is better than Michigan, that shows they can win away from home. They can win against a good team. They can win in a bigger arena. And McNeese State has showed that. Then Kansas versus Samford. Sam, me,
Henry
but I'm
Ford.
taking Kansas.
No.
Yeah. McCullough being out, big impact, but Samford's solid, but I don't think they got any super notable non-conference wins that I could think of. But anyway, reasons. Then I'm taking Oregon. Advanced metrics do not like South Carolina very much, but I don't care about those that much. Oregon just ended the season pretty well.
It's true.
Great win against Arizona in the Pac-12 tournament.
It is.
And then I'm taking Creighton.
Really?
RDJ,
I'm surprised.
New Jays. Not a fan of
RDJ.
the Zips. Then Hook'em.
What?
Then Rocky Top.
What?
While I'm on team slogan things.
Okay.
Anyway.
You're playing every team's favorite here.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. I'm actually very pleased with what you did here because I think I have quite a few different.
Ho ho ho.
Oh, okay. For a second there, I thought I had it all filled out. I got Purdue as well. No surprises there. No FDU thing happening between these two teams for sure. I've got Utah State here. I think from what I've heard, they are really underseeded here, and I mean really underseeded. They had a very good year, have a very good offense. Not saying the TCU can't win because this is definitely a flip-flop game, but I like Utah State here. I've actually got Gonzaga. Contrary to what Sam said, I think Gonzaga looks. I think. Never mind. I'm not gonna spoil. But
Ho ho ho.
I was gonna say the WCC is a really good conference, which kind of gives away what I'm doing here. But whatever. You already know what I'm gonna do there. I think these two teams are really good, and if we look at all the matchups from Gonzaga, for some reason I thought they had a really bad schedule this year. Like they just didn't do good. And I guess they did have a loss to Santa Clara, but then I started looking. I was like, they did beat Kentucky. They beat St. Mary's. They've beaten good teams, and they did good in their conference as they always do. So I do like them against McNeese, although, like Sam said, very scary team. So it is possible. But I like Gonzaga here, especially out of these four teams. I've also got Kansas. Don't like the Samford hype train that everyone has been taking as well, along with the Kentucky hype train. Don't really understand it. I get that they full court press every play. I really don't care. It's Kansas. They're well coached. They got Bill Self. I'm not worried about that. I get Kevin McCullar's out, but you got a premier center, and there's no way Samford's stopping that. And if for some chance they do hit threes, then my pick was wrong. Whatever. I've got Oregon here as well. Also, very good win. I know I said I hate the Pac-12 earlier, but I really just don't want Creighton to play South Carolina, so I picked Oregon. Got Creighton. Akron is actually, of all the 3-14 seeds, I think Creighton is actually the one that could lose, but I'm not jinxing anything there. I've got Colorado State. I could see Virginia also being Texas just because of their defense, but I got Colorado State down the horns. I also got Dalton Necht there, so. All right.
Okay, I'm going to make this quick. Boiler up. RDJ. Rocky Top. I have no clue what McNeese State would say. Cowboy Nation, let's ride. I just don't believe that Kansas is making a deep run. I already told you. Really like McNeese State.
Especially with McCullar out.
Yeah, not a huge fan of Texas and Jays. Blue Jay flock, let's fly.
Well, I'll also make it quick because you made it quick, and this might make some people mad, but I got the same exact thing.
No.
Except for Gonzaga.
No
but I'm choosing Gonzaga because of their great offense and great defense statistically. Purdue wins that. Creighton most likely wins that, and Tennessee wins that. So, yeah, no question.
Yep. Purdue ended the season. They showed some weakness against Wisconsin despite getting to the free throw line so much.
You're not putting McNeese in your
more than they needed to. Despite that, they're not losing to McNeese. Okay. So Purdue's moving on. Purdue's being a little overhated right now, I think, in the fandom community.
I agree completely.
They're still quite good. I'm taking Creighton as well to beat Tennessee. I think it's a pretty good matchup. Baylor Shireman versus Dalton Knecht.
I agree. I agree completely.
Will be the matchup of the same size, roughly white guys transferring from Northern Colorado and South Dakota State to Tennessee and Creighton. But I've got Creighton winning. Tennessee struggled a little bit down the stretch. They had a chance at the last 1 seed, but just kind of fumbled it. I'm taking Creighton.
I really like what you did there, and just to touch on that point, not just saying this because of seeding, but Creighton does actually match up out of these 8 teams the best with Tennessee. I mean, Baylor and Dalton both from small transfers from small schools to bigger teams, and both succeeded very well. And I think Baylor locks them down, no questions asked.
Mm-hmm.
But I've actually very different from what I've done here. I've done the exact opposite.
Oh,
I have Gonzaga over Purdue, and this might not be a very good pick because McNeese can beat Gonzaga, but I really like Gonzaga against Kansas or Samford, either way. So I know they win that game. And I think Gonzaga actually matches up well with Purdue, especially with the 3-point defense, because they are, I think, top 10 in 3-point defense percentage. And if you take away that part from Purdue's game, they only have Zach Edey, and there's no way that Zach Edey scores 70 points. So I think Gonzaga could actually win this game. Holy cow. Tennessee over Creighton. That's also just a gut feeling. I was biased here earlier and did that, but I'm gonna stay unbiased. I do have another bracket that's Creighton as well, so
yep.
I felt okay choosing Tennessee there.
Get ready for some more same level analysis right here. Got Purdue, Creighton in Detroit. Detroit, hub of the auto industry. Trains. They're not on a good level in America right now because of the auto industry.
The Blue Jays are.
A lot of car-dependent infrastructure in America. The Boilermakers, they can't handle Detroit. Creighton, Final Four, Blue Jay flock, let's fly.
I love that. That's awesome. Let's just quickly peek that right there. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, take a peek.
I think this is where Gonzaga's run ends. Good team, but I think they fall to a dominant player. They have no one that can guard Dalton Knecht on that team. I don't know who on that team would guard him, but I don't think anyone can. Moving on. I got North Carolina, Mississippi State. I think Michigan State is a good team, no matter what people say. I don't care that the record's 19-14. But I do like Mississippi State just because of how they performed in the SEC. As I said earlier, love St. Mary's. Alabama, same team as Charleston, just better. Sorry for stealing everyone's favorite for an upset, but I also like New Mexico. Baylor, I think, is way better than Colgate. Nevada, this is actually my sleeper team here. I think Nevada is actually one of the better low seeds here. I think they're a little undervalued along with other Mountain West teams. I think Dayton could win this game if they hit the 3. Again, all my picks are contingent on whether teams hit the 3 or not, because it's just
March me mad.
Depends on the day, right? But Nevada has performed so well recently, and I would not be surprised if Sam does the same thing here. And got Arizona. So moving on.
Yep. I think there are 3 games that are pretty 50-50 in this: Mississippi State, Michigan State, Dayton, Nevada, and Clemson, New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
I happen to go the same way as Max on all of them.
Oh, really?
Which happens. We did not talk about any of this beforehand. So
we did not.
The only analysis I'm going to give you right here is that
give us a little.
The 2-15 upset that's most likely to happen. Whoops.
Yeah, okay, I'll just make sure.
Is Arizona versus Long Beach State. Long Beach State, they beat USC by like 10 at USC.
Oh, really?
I want to say they beat another vaguely power team.
USC did beat Arizona this year.
See, by that logic, Long Beach State better than Arizona.
Ronnie James effect.
And of course, Long Beach State with their coach being gone after the season, a lot of emotion there.
Mm-hmm.
I think Max said last year he thought Princeton was the most likely 2-15 upset. I'm saying Long Beach State is the most likely 2-15 upset this year.
I did say this year. Last year I did say that, but I didn't pick Princeton.
Unfortunate.
Let's not sound like I did. I'm going to be a little humble there. I do think this game's more likely as the 15 seed. But, yeah, I agree with every single pick here.
Really? No way.
Yeah, no way. Okay. Here, I could see Mississippi State upsetting, but North Carolina actually has a really good resume this year. I don't know if you saw but on analytics wise, like I said, loving the WCC this year. St. Mary's even better defense than Gonzaga, and they're both top 10. They will slow down the pace, and that is exactly what kills Alabama. So I think if St. Mary's beats Grand Canyon, they'll have no troubles against either of these teams unless they get sped up, which I don't believe they will, as proven by the games that they had with Gonzaga. I can't remember what I put here, but I think I put Baylor. Yeah, I did put Baylor. They play the same style, don't they? They have really good guards. I think Baylor's resume is better though. Now here's my question for you, right? Is the Pac-12 completely fraudulent based on the fact that Arizona's just better than everyone, but compared to the pool of 68 teams, they're mid, right? I think the way Nevada plays and how hot they have been recently, they will win this game.
Mm-hmm.
And I really hope Sam did not put that because I want that to be my pick, and I want to be responsible for when this happens because I believe it.
Yeah, unfortunately, things are looking very similar here. But I do have Arizona winning. Max can call that right there. Nevada was definitely very underseeded. They finished the year pretty hot, but did get bounced in the Mountain West tourney quite early. Don't remember who that was to.
It was to New Mexico, I think.
Okay. May have been Colorado State even. I don't even know.
I don't remember either.
Yeah, kind of agree with Max. St. Mary's matches up really well with Alabama. Alabama has really struggled against good teams this year, so that's my analysis.
Sam is going quick with it, I'm not going to lie. And he's the more analytical one here, I'd say. Going to pick the higher seeds here. No particular reason. I think St. Mary's and Nevada could win these games, but I'm pretty sure this is what I did. Yeah, that's what I did. Baylor, a run to the Elite Eight's probably unlikely, but I don't know. I just like their path.
I will say I'm not a huge fan of anyone in the West region. If I were to pick my definitely 5 and maybe I'd probably say if I were to pick my top 12 teams to win the title, only North Carolina is showing up in that. And no one in my top 5 most likely teams to win the titles in the West region. But someone's winning. I got Baylor down here. I'm not a huge Arizona guy, kind of like Max's. I could see Nevada winning, but I don't think they're quite there. And I do see the WCC champion St. Mary Gales advancing. North Carolina did struggle a little, especially against NC State. They also had another game or two, I forget, where they kind of struggled down the stretch. I forget who they were against, but managed to hold on to that last 1 seed. But
they did lose
St.
to
Mary's
NC State
Gales. Yeah.
Twice, I think.
Yes.
Maybe I'm wrong. I'm chatting, whatever. Keep going. I interrupted you.
I'll talk about St. Mary's on the next go around. Max Gerda.
Oh, really? Okay. I do have North Carolina here solely because they are a better team than Baylor. But I could see St. Mary's making the Elite Eight like you did. But that's my Final Four. Just a quick glance before we go back to Sam's. I got 2 1 seeds, 2 seed, and a 3 seed. So realistic in a way.
Yep. I've showed the Big 12 a lot of love. Baylor in the Elite Eight, Houston Final Four, Texas Tech run, BYU run. Can the runs continue? No. I got St. Mary's, the West Coast Conference champion, in the Final Four right here. St. Mary's has been solid for so many years. I think this is finally their year. They started off the year quite rough. They lost to Weber State. They lost to Xavier by 20. But guess what? They've lost once since Christmas. That was a close game to Gonzaga. They beat Gonzaga 2 or 3 times. I watched them in that final in the West Coast Conference tournament.
Looks so much better.
They looked so much better. They looked like a great team. And I think Gonzaga is a really good team too. And if you're Gonzaga's a 5 seed, if you watch that game with St. Mary's, you're they've got to be a title contender if that's how they always play against a team of Gonzaga's caliber. And, St. Mary's, they got some solid wins. They beat New Mexico by like 10. They beat Gonzaga twice at Gonzaga and on the neutral court. At home, they did struggle a little bit, but that was a poor shooting game, which is risky with these teams that are much better at defense, like St. Mary's, that they can have a poor offensive outing. But they're still in the top half of the field in offensive efficiency. I think they can do just enough. Defense wins championships. I'm taking St. Mary's.
I really like that pick, honestly. And
I was worried you were going to steal it from me when you were talking up St. Mary's earlier, but
I think I'm not even gonna lie to you. I think I did have that at one point, but I just was like, I think I was at the point where I was like had either too many upsets or too many good teams in the Final 4 and I kind of had to like split it up a little bit. What did I do again? I guess I didn't really do anything that crazy, but
yeah, I did have North Carolina. Was like, I got to roll with someone different in the West because I don't really like anyone that much. And I talked myself into St. Mary's quite a bit.
Let's keep you talking. What are you saying?
They could lose in the 5-12 game.
What are you
But
saying about this game?
I'm saying this game got the Big East versus the West Coast.
Two teams that got kind of undervalued in this year in the not really the WCC, but just like what I mean. They only had two teams.
Yeah, a lot more people live in the East than the West. We've got UConn.
Is that your only reason?
UConn's good. There we go. Analysis.
I like that. Should we do your other one as well?
Sure.
Yeah.
I love Creighton. This is where the run ends against Houston. I know it's a little boring having 1-2 in the championship game right here, but I think these have been the best two teams all year. And of course, we know the two best teams do not always get to the final. There's probably a good chance that neither of these two teams makes the final, but I've got UConn, Houston,
or
right there.
At least one of them, because UConn's kind of likely. I mean, except what I said, I think Auburn.
Even UConn, I was looking at the odds. They're only like 50-50 in Vegas to make the Final Four.
That's true.
Interesting.
I think this is where Shannon gets a little tired here. He's done so much for his team, but his legs are starting to give out on them. And I think North Carolina is an overall team, just better. I guess Illinois does have DeMass, but I think North Carolina as a team, I think they honestly have the easiest path, except for maybe meeting St. Mary's. Like we said earlier, don't trust in Arizona. So I think there is actually a high likeliness that they could make it here if they don't run into UConn. And then I also really like Houston. Hopefully we don't pick both Houston to win it all, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do.
We'll see.
All right, Samuel.
What's right here?
My right shoulder. My back.
Your back. Back.
Back to
I'm taking UConn. I just think I really like both these teams, but I think UConn has a few more ways to win a game. Houston's a little more reliant on their slow it down style. UConn, I think, can adapt to a bunch of different styles. They're much safer of a bet to get to the finals, and they might not go back to back, but I'm taking them in my perfect bracket. I've got the Ukes of UConn.
I love that. Here. We'll just get a little zoom in on that.
Oh, yeah. Zoom in on the old Husky, which is a little scary.
I love that.
Back to back.
I do have Houston winning it all. I think this is where North Carolina's run ends, and they don't deserve a title this year, I don't think. Like Sam said, I think UConn and Houston were the best teams this season. I just think UConn will get bounced early. They're a little too confident. Houston got humbled already, and they know that they can lose, so they'll perform. And I'll get my zoom in on Houston.
Oh, yeah.
This is our two picks. This is me. This is Sam. Love it. Please subscribe. Please roast us in the comments if you actually made it to this far in the video, which definitely no one did, but that's all right.
Happens. Bye-bye.
Bye.